All right, old school NBA fans, self-researched NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, I want to say thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind, if you could, hit the subscribe button, the like button, share the video, all that good stuff. I'd really appreciate it. Help me out a lot. I'm still a pretty young YouTube channel, trying to get my feet off the ground. I mean, obviously, I have a day job, and this is more like a hobby, I guess you could say. But I really enjoy it, and if you guys get anything at all out of this content, if you could do any of those things, I would very much appreciate it. Okay, in this video, a lot of them lately have been inspired by people in the comments who, just love to throw shade, negative stuff, all that business. They just love to do it. It's who they are. It's in their heart. I don't go on to channels that promote, LeBron James is the GOAT, or this era is so much better than the 80s and 90s. They were a bunch of statues and bums and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not even going to engage in that ridiculous stuff. These guys are so much more athletic, with being allowed to carry the ball, being allowed to take step back shots, which essentially gives you 2 extra steps in any direction you want. The advantages are ridiculous. The illegal screens that never get called. They took away defensive 3 seconds. They took away hand checking, just neutering the defense essentially. But anyway, in this video, what I'm going to talk about is because somebody made a comment saying, "Oh, big deal. It was about Jordan having 3 of the 7 runs of all time where they beat multiple 60-win teams." And the comment person said, comment coward I call him, that, "Oh, big deal. It's easy to beat a 60-win team when you're a 60-win team," and yada, 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 and all that. Okay. Well, I decided to look into the 60-win teams that lost. So it's so easy to win when you have 60-win team, right? All right, let's just see how everybody did. I'm going to start all the way in the very beginning. In 1949, the Rochester Royals were 45-15. So that's the equivalent of 61.5 wins. They lost to the Minneapolis Lakers, who were 44-16. That's the equivalent of 60.1 wins. Well, the Lakers upset them. Even though they were only 1 win worse than them, still, 60-win team got beat and they got upset. The 1950 Rochester Royals, they were 51-17. That's the equivalent of 61.5 wins again. They lost to Fort Wayne Pistons, who were 40-28, the equivalent of 48.2 wins. They got upset. 1950 Syracuse, 51-13. They lost to Minneapolis Lakers, who were 51-17. So I think Syracuse, that was the equivalent of winning 63.1. 62.1. Sorry, couldn't read it. But anyway, and then Minneapolis, the equivalent of 61.5, they beat them. They got upset, again. I mean, what can you say? So the next one, the 1967 Boston Celtics, they were 60-21, the equivalent of 60.8 wins in an 82-game season. They lost to the 76ers, who were 68-13. Yeah, that was not an upset, That was, just getting beat by a better team. Okay, it happens. 1968, Philadelphia 76ers again were 62-20. They lost to Boston, who was 54-28. They got upset. 1972, Milwaukee Bucks. They lost to the Lakers, who were 69-13. Not an upset. 1973 Bucks, 60-22. They lost to Golden State. It was 47-35. 1973 Celtics, 68-14. I think that's the 6th best record in NBA history. They got beat by the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Knicks were 57-25. That was an upset. The same season in the finals, the Lakers were 60-22. they lost to the Knicks also in the finals. That was one of those teams that had that run where they beat multiple 60-win teams. Okay, so 1975 Boston Celtics. They were 60-22. They lost to Washington, who was also 60-22. Now, yeah, I get it on that one. Somebody was going to lose because they were both 60-win teams. I get that. 1975, same season, Washington 60-22, got beat by Golden State in the finals, who was 48-34. That was an upset. 1980, Boston Celtics, Larry Bird's rookie year, 61-21. Lost to Philadelphia, 59-23 team in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that was in 7. In 81, this is another one of those multiple 60-win teams. Milwaukee Bucks, 60-22. They lost to Philadelphia. It was 62-20. In 81, Conference Finals, Philadelphia was 62-20. They played Boston, who was 62-20. And, Boston did have home court, so it wasn't an upset in the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay? The next year in 82, Boston was 63-19. They lost to Philly, who was 58-24. That's an upset. And to me, an upset has nothing to do with Vegas, how many Hall of Famers a team has, is who's the higher seed and who had home court advantage. At least until about 10 years ago, or 10 years ago, with all the load managing and the injuries, you can't really tell who the best teams are anymore. You just can't. So anyway, yeah. So Boston lost the Eastern Conference Finals. They were 63-19. Philly was 58-24. That's an upset. 1986, the Lakers, defending champions, 62-20, lost to Houston. It was 51-31 in the Western Conference Finals in 5 games. Definitely an upset. 1990 Lakers. This is magic twice in a row here. 63-19. They lost to Phoenix, who was 54-28 in the Western Conference semifinals. 91 Portland. They were 63-19. They lost to the Lakers, who were 58-24 in the Western Conference Finals. That was an upset too. 1993 was the Bulls when they beat the Knicks, and then they beat Phoenix. It's not always easy to win when you got a 60-win team, is it? Everybody thinks a piece of cake. How come practically every other superstar lost at least once when they had a 60-win team? And the Bulls in 93 played 2 60-win teams. They were a 57-win team. They didn't have home court advantage in either series. 1994, one of the biggest upsets in NBA history. Seattle, 63-19, lost to Denver in the first round, 42-40 team. That was in a best of 5. 1995, Utah. They were 60-22. They lost to Houston, who was 47-35 in the first round, upset. Same year, San Antonio in 95, 62-20. Also lost to Houston, who was 47-35. 1996, Orlando. They were 60-22. They lost to the Bulls, who were 72-10. And then also Seattle in the finals lost to the Bulls, who were 72-10. So obviously a 60-win team was going to lose either way there. Same thing with 97. The Bulls beat Miami, who was 61-21. Then Utah, who was 64-18. Not an upset on either one of those. Agreed. In 98, Seattle and the Lakers played in the semifinals, both 61-21, and the Lakers beat them. That was not an upset. In the next round, again, the 61-win Lakers against the 62-win Jazz. The Jazz swept them, got to the finals. But this is interesting. The Bulls and Jazz were both 62-20, but the Jazz had home court advantage because they swept the Bulls in the regular season. Well, the Bulls beat them. Technically, that was an upset. Maybe not with Vegas or what, the people now, what do they call it, the revisionist historians say. But at the time, that was a minor upset, especially considering who Utah beat and how hot they were coming into the finals. 1999, Utah was 37-13. That was the strike year, the equivalent of 60.8 wins. They lost to Portland, who was 35-15. That's the equivalent of about 57 wins. They got upset. 2002, Sacramento, 61-21. They lost to the Lakers, who were 58-24 in the Western Conference Finals. That was an upset. 2003, Dallas and San Antonio played each other, so one of them was going to lose. 2004, Indiana Pacers, 61-21. They lost it to Detroit. It was 54-28 in the Eastern Conference Finals. 2005, Phoenix was 62-20. They lost to San Antonio. It was 59-23 in the Western Conference Finals. 2006, San Antonio got upset. They were 63-19, but they lost to a Dallas team who was 60-22, but that's an upset. San Antonio had home court advantage. 2006, Detroit Pistons were 64-18. They got beat by Miami, who was 52-30 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then Miami turned around and beat Dallas, who was 60-22 in the finals. That's the last team to beat multiple 60-win teams in the same run, was the 2006 Miami Heat. Or no, actually it wasn't. It was 2009. I'm sorry. 2007, Dallas. They were 67-15. They got upset by Golden State. It was 42-40. The biggest upset in NBA history. Also in 2007, Phoenix, 61-21. They got upset by San Antonio. It was 58-24. I think that was that series that Amari Stoudemire got suspended or what have you. 2009, Boston was 62-20. They lost to Orlando. It was 59-23. Garnett was hurt, though, so that one there, even though it's technically an upset, I mean, you know, when you lose basically your best player, you know, you can't really hold it against them. But they were a 61 team. They did lose. 2009, Cleveland, 66-16. They lost to Orlando, who was 59-23. Definitely an upset. Orlando was missing Jameer Nelson that series. 2010, Cleveland, 61-21. Lost to 50-32 Boston in the semifinals. All these are upsets. Another upset the next year. 2011, Chicago was 62-20. They were actually up 1-0. They lost to Miami in 5 games. Miami was 58-24 in the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's why I laugh when LeBron James said he didn't have enough peripheral help. Like, you had enough to beat the Bulls 4 in a row and then have a 2-1 lead on Dallas. It's like, no, you just melted down, dude. 2012 Chicago, Derrick Rose got hurt, so this one you can't really hold against them. But 50-16 Chicago in the strike year, equivalent of 62.2 wins. Got beat by Philly in the first round. It was only 35-31. 2012 San Antonio, they were 50-16, 62.2 wins. Lost to OKC, who was 47-19, equivalent of 58.4 wins. Definitely an upset. 2013 Oklahoma City, 60-22. Lost to Memphis, who was 56-26. Upset. 2015 Atlanta Hawks, 60-22. Lost to Cleveland, 53-29. 2016 San Antonio was 67-15. They lost to Oklahoma City, who was 55-27 in the Western Conference semifinals. Definitely an upset. Now, 2016 finals, Golden State was 73-9. Cleveland beat them in 7 games. You know, there's a lot of circumstances, but whatever. On paper, it's an upset. 2017 Western Conference Finals, San Antonio and Golden State. San Antonio lost, but Golden State was favored, especially without Kawhi Leonard. 2018 Houston, 65-17. Lost to Golden State. It was 58-24. I know Chris Paul got hurt, and that definitely killed them. 2019 Milwaukee Bucks, 60-22. Lost to Toronto, who was 58-24 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Definitely an upset. 2020 Milwaukee, they were 56-17, the equivalent of 62.9 wins. Well, they lost to Miami in 5 games, who was 44-29, or the equivalent of 49.5 wins. So that's a big upset there. And then 2020 Toronto was 53-19, 60.4 wins. Lost to Boston, who was 48-24, the equivalent of 54 wins. Another upset. So the last one was the 2022 Phoenix Suns. They were 64-18, and they lost to Dallas, who was 52-30 in the Western Conference semifinals. Big upset there. So I just named about 60 times that a 60-win team got beat. And, you know, there was probably 7, 8, or 9 of these that it was, you know, to another 60-win team. But still, you don't see Michael Jordan, the Bulls on that list, And that would have covered 1992, 96, 97, 98. Nobody beat him in those seasons. But all these other teams, and some of these teams that got beat include Magic Johnson multiple times, Larry Bird multiple times, Dr. J, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe, but he was only in his second year, but he was in there too. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar multiple times. Bill Russell's on this list. Will Chamberlain's on this list. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Tim Duncan multiple times got upset as a 60-win team. You know, the only players that you're not going to find on this list is Michael Jordan, and Olajuwon never won 60, so you definitely won't find him either. But, again, stop with the stupid narratives, okay? All these teams got beat when they won over 60 games. They got upset. So maybe it's not as easy as you think to always win as the favorite. You know, maybe it's just not as easy as you think it is. Because there's been a lot of teams as the favorite that have got beat in recent years and even not so recent years. You know, the 1990 Lakers, 63-19, got beat by a Phoenix team that was 54-28. They had Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Michael Cooper, Vlade Divac, 4 Hall of Famers, right? And Phoenix had 0. I mean, how far do you want to go with this thing? How about Dallas, 67-15, the exact same record the 92 Bulls had, but they got beat in the first round by a 42-40 Golden State team. I think the best player was Baron Davis. Well, the Bulls, that didn't happen to them. They did get tested in the second round by the Knicks, but they won. They prevailed. So, anyway, that's about it for this video. I mean, these narratives, you keep bringing the narratives, and I'll keep debunking and busting them up because that's what I like to do. The narratives are stupid. They're to supply, a way to diminish Michael Jordan. And again, I'm not going to stand for it. You supply the narrative, and I'll tell you why it's false. So that's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching. And like I said, if you don't mind hitting the like button or subscribe if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it. And until next time.